Live from the Dustin DeHart Nova Home Loan Studios. KXNT AM North Las Vegas. KXQQ HD2 Henderson. News Talk 840 AM. KXNT.
This show is not intended to provide the listener with specific medical advice, and you should seek the advice of a medical professional.
This program is brought to you by Zenus, leading the Optimum Wellness movement in body and spirit with nature.
My whole purpose is to get people off of their drugs and get them to live a healthy life.
It's such a miracle. I mean, this is dollar for dollar. Best stuff I've ever had in my office.
Zenus Health Show on KXNT. My name is Anthony, and joining me once again is Doug Whitfield, educator and author of Life for Grave Danger. He's also the president and CEO of Zenus Global Health. Remember, the consultation is always free here every Sunday. You are backed by Nature's Pharmacy, and your journey to wellness can be all yours. It just begins with your mindset. If you want to get involved in the conversation, take your call on the Host Resistance Hotline, 702-733-5968. But first of all, I want to bring my compadre here, my great old friend here, Mr. Doug Whitfield. We're at the end of another year. 2017 just flown by for you like it has for me.
Absolutely. Good morning to you, Anthony.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is the last day of 2017.
Soon to be the year of our Lord 2018. And we all know what happens with the flip of the dial, right?
We start following all of our resolutions.
Well, at least we try to follow the resolutions, but I think we should say that. One of my resolutions is not to comment about the weather anymore in 2018, but for 2017, a little cold this morning, my friend. I feel like I was on the pond.
Yeah. Well, I just checked. It's 42 degrees out there this morning. So
yep. So my resolution is not to talk about the weather in 2018 so early in the morning, but in 2017, I certainly had resolutions. Did you have any resolutions in 2017?
Yeah, I did. But just getting back to the weather for a moment, I'm just reminded of an email I got from a friend of mine up in Canada, and he sent me it's like a thermometer. Of course, it's in Celsius. Once it gets down below 40 below, there's a sign on the thermometer that says, hell freezes over. And then down below that, it's got current temperature in Winnipeg.
I was going to say, this is where it is in Manitoba, eh? You know?
We're talking 42 Fahrenheit here, but we should be pretty grateful.
You got to be special to put up with that weather up there, my word. But hey, going back to resolutions, what were your resolutions in 2017? Were you successful?
Yeah, somewhat. I had a kind of a challenge going into the new year because I had scheduled some back surgery. I had re-injured an old injury. As a result of that, I spent 4 years exhausting everything I knew in the natural health arena and finally came to the conclusion that I really needed surgery to clean it up. So that's what started my new year. Mm-hmm. But the nice thing about it is I wanted to lose about 10 pounds, and having the surgery did that for me automatically.
I mean, I had resolutions in 2017, and each year you walk in and you have ideas about what you hope to do in the new year with your goals, your objectives, things that you need in a plan, things that you'll need to support that plan. I had some pretty big ones, and one of which was to lose some weight, which I did.
Yeah.
Quit the smoking.
Yeah.
Did that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you're an awesome person anyways, Anthony.
Well, usually I failed at it. That's my point. And I'm just like anybody else. We're all failed, flawed human beings, right? And we're all a work in progress, and we're all snowflakes, and we're working along trying to figure out what works for us and what doesn't. And one of the things that I was affirmed in 2017, and I got some pretty big ones in 2018. Maybe I'll share those later with you, Doug.
Yeah.
But 2017, I had some pretty big objectives. Those were big objectives, and
goals have to be big. If they're not big and challenging, see, there's nothing exciting about mediocrity.
No, it's boring.
Well, they say if you reach for the stars, you don't come up with a handful of mud.
Right. Here's another one. If you don't have a plan, you're going to be out of luck, Stan. So my point being is when we get into resolutions, I think you got to have goals every year. But Is it amazing to you how many people have resolutions, but they have no plan?
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Right. So everybody has aspirations. We'll call it aspirations versus a plan.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you my success in 2017 would not have been possible without your products.
Wow.
I needed the plan, but I also needed support of that plan.
Right.
That was the difference. So believe me, I tried losing weight before. And again, it wasn't like I was like so heavy, like I had to lose like a pile of weight, but I also wanted to lose the smoking habit. And we all know sometimes when you lose a smoking habit, you gain weight.
Well, you never get rid of a habit. You can only change one habit for another habit. So typically what people do is if it's a destructive habit, which smoking is, quite often they replace it with an eating habit, which is also destructive, as opposed to going into, say, an exercise program that would be a productive habit.
Folks, if you have a resolution that you want to share with the world, want to share with us, and maybe it has something to do with your health, your wellness, give us a call, 702-733-5968. Get on the host resistance hotline throughout the show. We'll be taking your calls. We also have a special guest. His name is Bruce Maier. You're going to want to know him a little bit because he's a long-term supporter of Zenus Global Health. In fact, he did a lot of the work I'm doing now today years ago with you, Doug.
Yeah, that's right.
Knows an awful lot about the products, has some wonderful stories to share. Again, if you want to share your stories, get on the line, the host resistance hotline, 702-733-5968. Want to get back to my resolution and why it was successful and tie it to Optimum D-Tox.
Okay. Because,
quite frankly, what happened for me was I got the sense that if I was going to be successful quitting smoking and losing weight, I knew that the poison and the toxins were at the root of this. And this time, when I did it right, ate the right foods, Optimum D-Tox didn't get the cravings with the food, didn't get the cravings with the cigarettes, and that was my success point. That's what energized my plan.
Perfect. You want me to explain why that happened?
Absolutely. You're looking right at me, and I know you got that supercharged look. Fire away, my friend.
Well, losing weight is simply typically a byproduct if people are overweight. Because remember, Optimum D-Tox comes from a whole food extraction from the Mojave yucca, which is an adaptogen, which restores balance. And so as a result of that, what happens is when we're eating a lot of denatured foods, we start to build up a lot of accumulated waste in the gut. And as we accumulate this waste over a period of time, it putrefies, it rots, it decays, and the body's immune system goes into where it wants to protect the body. So it starts coating the gut wall with a mucus to prevent the poisons from getting through into the bloodstream, where it can cause irreparable damage throughout the body. And the problem or the challenge then becomes is you're stopping the poisons from getting through, but you're also blocking nutrients from getting through. So the cells are not getting the nutrients they need in order to manufacture the enzymes. So they go into a stress mode and they send signals to the brain saying, I need more. Well, the brain senses that you need more food. It's really more nutrition that you're looking for. So we get into this where we're overfed and we're undernourished. Mm-hmm. Where the Optimum D-Tox plays such a significant role, unlike anything else that I know of, the phytosterols in that particular product motivate the friendly flora in the gut, causing them to produce more enzymes that can more effectively break down and eliminate the toxins in the gut, whereas the soap molecules or the saponins act as a cleanser or a detergent. They clean the gut wall. So what you've done effectively now is you've gotten rid of the cause of most of your degenerative and chronic conditions, but you've also put the body in a better posture so it can more effectively absorb the nutrients the cells are craving for. And as you start getting more nutrition, you can satisfy the body with less food, with more effective absorption. And so consequently, we find that we're eating less, but we're getting more nourishment.
That also fed into the lack of a craving with the cigarettes, too. And I know you've heard this from other people who have quit and used Optimum D-Tox. Now, we're not trying to make a one-for-one correlation here that detox is going to make you quit smoking.
Right.
You got to have the willpower. You need a plan for that as well. But there is something to it.
We've had literally hundreds and if not thousands of testimonials from people that have been able to start not to smoke. I hate calling people quitters, so they start not to smoke.
Right.
But anyways, once they've started on a regimen of the Optimum D-Tox, can't explain the science exactly, but I have in my heart of hearts, I believe it's probably once they've taken that step to wellness and they start seeing improvements in their body and their health, they don't want to smoke anymore. Mm-hmm. And so they get that mindset that they're going to quit. And once you've made a firm, concrete, resolute choice that you're not going to smoke anymore or starting not to smoke becomes extremely simple.
Help me understand the role of once detox gets rid of the poisons, because that's the root of the addiction, really, when you're dealing with cigarettes. I mean, there's a natural psychological addiction, I think, that goes along with it. But there's also an addiction that's kind of born in terms of the chemicals, right?
Well, you've got two things going on. You've got both a mental dependency and a physical dependency, because initially it's a mental dependency. Anything that's destructive, the body fights against. Mm-hmm. First time anybody ever started smoking, and I'm sure you'll concur, you choked and coughed. That's the body telling you that that's not in harmony with its needs. It's not good. It's like a side effect from a drug. Okay, you shouldn't be doing it. But we go ahead and we force the body to do it. And over a period of time, the body says, well, okay, I don't like it, but I'll do it. And there comes a time when the body says, you know what? Not only do I like it, but I love it and I need it. Right. And that's because you form not just a mental dependency, but also physical dependency. So again, by eliminating the poisons and the toxins, I think it also helps to overcome those physical dependencies and, of course, the mental dependencies from what I explained earlier.
702-733-5968. Get on the Host Resistance Hotline. Talk with Doug Whitfield about some of your wonderful New Year's resolutions. How are you going to be well in 2018? We've got some special things we're going to talk about throughout the show. But, Doug, you going into your 50th year now?
In nutrition. Yeah, 1968.
You've been at this for a very long time, needless to say, and I've got to commend you a bit here because you're stepping to the plate, and I think you're coming up with some new offers that, folks, if you want to get involved with these, make sure you follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ZenusHQ or on Twitter at twitter.com/ZenusGlobal. Make sure you follow us on social media. You can also find us on YouTube as well. Zenus Global Health. You'll find all the past shows, what have you. We'll talk about other electronic resources that we have later in the show, but this is where we're going to start to socialize some of these products in a very, very different way with some once-in-a-generation offers that I believe celebrate the 50 years you've had in this business of making people well, or at least giving them the tools to help them with their wellness objectives. This relationship you have with Optimum D-Tox and why it is so important, why we spend so much time talking about it, give our audience who may not have heard this message before the importance behind Optimum D-Tox in your life.
Well, Optimum D-Tox is a very unique product, and people in the natural health arena have quite often bandied the word adaptogen around, and a lot of times I'm not even familiar with what an adaptogen is, but an adaptogen is something found in nature that has the ability to restore balance. And so any of these degenerative or chronic conditions or a lot of other issues as well simply are a body out of balance. And when the body's out of balance, you have dis-ease. And the Optimum D-Tox has all the constituents that affect and help to restore balance in every gland, every organ, every cell in the body. From your adrenal glands, it restores balance in the gut. And because nature has endowed that particular botanic with some characteristics unlike any other botanic on the planet. The other thing it does is it will actually complement anything else that you're doing orally. There's a lot of great products out there. I mean, fabulous products.
Yes.
But it's kind of like putting STP into an engine that's already seized. If you haven't prepared the body so it can effectively absorb and utilize it, then it's really throwing your money away. So that's what we do, is we prepare the body. The Optimum D-Tox puts the body in the posture that it can more effectively utilize other things that you're doing.
Folks, if you don't learn anything else but that, this is not just a detox. This is an adaptogen. It takes things out of your system that need to be ridded from the system and then adds things to it. If you want to know more about Optimum D-Tox, don't forget you are listening to the Zenus Health Show, brought to you by the fine people at Zenus Global Health. Check out the website at zenusglobalhealth.com/information, or you can give them a call at 702-540-5668. The consultation is always free. We're backed by Nature's Pharmacy. When we return at the other end of this break, Bruce Maier will be on the air to talk to us about detox and more. You're listening to the Zenus Health Show. Come right back.
What if I could show you a way to increase your energy and your vitality, lower your blood pressure, and enhance your libido? No doctors, no drugs. Every day, I'm confronted by people that are just too anxious to tell me that they've got no energy, that they've got no drive. How be if we could change all that?
That's right. Make that call and make it now. Call Zenus at 702-540-5668. Unleash the power today.
Rush.
This is what I have dreamed of.
Hearing all his dreams come true.
I'm just enjoying the left acting like a bunch of stuck pigs.
Weekdays 9 to noon.
I just love it. I love them going batty.
On News Talk 840 AM, KXNT.
Hey, folks, welcome back. You're listening to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk Radio 840 AM, KXNT Las Vegas. My name is Anthony, joined here, of course, with the CEO and president of Zenus Global Health. His name is Doug Whitfield. Don't forget, this is the place where the consultation is always free. We're backed by Nature's Pharmacy, and we are joined by a great friend of the show. His name is Bruce Maier. He is a musician, independent film producer, but more importantly, he did a lot of the stuff that I'm doing today well in the past and has known Zenus for quite some time. Bruce, great to have you on the Host Resistance Hotline. How are you, my friend?
I am great. Anthony, thanks for having me on the show.
Say hello to, I think, the better half here, which is Doug Whitfield, a good friend of yours. Do you know something about this man, do you not?
I know a few things about Doug Whitfield. We go back about a decade and a half. We've been very good friends, he and I, and Christina, his wife, and my wife, and our family. We're all very well connected as friends. We just started out, we met each other one day, and he also rode motorcycles, and we became motorcycle riding buddies and guitar jamming buddies, and we had a lot in common. And then I got involved in his company after that.
I got to know the company about 3 years ago, and it's a really very unique company, really backed by some really unique products. I know in your life, you've been touched by those products just like I have, and that seems to always be our connection at first. Talk to me a little bit about how Optimum D-Tox, how you got involved with it, and of course with Zenus, because that is the gateway formula for this company, without a doubt.
When I met Doug, the company had not been reorganized, so I was taking a predecessor of the Optimum D-Tox at that time, but I believed in this Shadigra Yucca ever since Doug showed it to me and I tried it. What it did for me, Anthony, I not only was I a musician, but I was also in sales, and sometimes there was a lot of stress and high pressure, and I had real high blood pressure and everything, and and in 2007, I moved back from Las Vegas to the Pacific Northwest. I started exercising more often and keeping my Optimum D-Tox in my system. And, you know, I have normal blood pressure around 120 over 80, and I'm going on 65 years old, and I feel good. I haven't had to see a doctor for over 20 years, too. So I've had a pretty good handle at things, and, you know, I've been blessed with, you know, having any broken bones or spending any time in a hospital. But the Optimum D-Tox is part of my daily routine, and I got to tell you, when my alarm went off at 7 o'clock this morning, that's the first thing I did was I reached for my detox and had my morning dose.
Doug, when you hear stories like Bruce, you know, you're a guy that's a big relationship guy like I am. The really interesting thing about your company is the number of people, the personalities that have endured over the years and have been aligned behind your products, but it's a lot more than that. Your friendship with Bruce goes even deeper because he also wrote your corporate song. I mean,
Bruce has played an integral role in the growth and the development of Zenus. Never really asked for anything in return. Bruce has tell people all the time he's a brother from a different mother.
That's for sure.
He's always involved. We've got things going on in Canada, that family. Bruce and his wife, Kay, that lovely wife, Kay, they're always there. He brings his guitar, brings his music. And we have quite a relationship outside of Zenus as well. We collaborate on songs. Bruce just recorded a couple of my songs, did them up in a way I could never have imagined, and they just blew me away when I heard them. And I keep writing, and he keeps putting them together and singing them. So,
well, I do want to point out, too, Doug, I mean, you came up with the original words and the concept for the company's theme song, and we just have a way we kind of click. You know, you give me an idea, and it inspires me. So having a part in helping to make that corporate song, it was really an honor. It's really an honor to know that our work is preserved that way.
I only wish you were here today live so we can get you in the studio with a guitar and get you guys rolling. But I want to also get back to the products too, Bruce, because you are a performer as well.
Yes, I am, and I am. I'm a working musician.
You are definitely a working musician, and one of the things that when you are a working musician, I tend to think you're as close to an athlete without actually suiting it up on Sundays. It requires
I'm on my feet for 4 or 5 hours a night, and you know I'm pretty active on stage. I don't just stand there like a statue, you know. So it's you're using a lot of aerobic activity there, you know.
One of the things you also take in your life is a product which I think is highly underrated. I use it myself, and as I've gotten deeper into the products, once I started losing the weight, started feeling a lot better, you take Powre like I do, and I'm going to say this, if you're a guy who's over 40 years old, and if you're not on Powre, you're making the biggest mistake of your life, because it's a fabulous dilator, and I know you have special reasons why you take it as well, Bruce.
Yeah, I discovered the Powre when it first came out, was introduced, and I knew there'd been a lot of studies on it, working with athletics programs and such. So what I did is I started taking it, and the interesting thing about taking Powre versus people, they're looking for the next wonderful thing that's going to give them more energy. There's thousands of products that give you more energy. When I took the Powre, I didn't notice right away anything happening or whatever, but I'll tell you what happens is when you demand more from your body, that's when the Powre kicks in like a turbocharger on your car.
I don't want the 5-hour energy drink. I want the all-day energy.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, I can attest to the several years that I belong to a local health club, and I typically go 5 days a week, and I'm going on 65 years old. I've seen my all my strengths and capacities more than double just in the last 2 years. And I mean, there is a direct correlation to a day that you've taken the Powre tablets or you don't take them. So I can attest that it does work for me. It's just a general feeling of more ability, but not like having a caffeine drink or something. And I see that in the gym. I see them, they sell these drinks, these energy drinks right at the gymnasium, tons of different things and caffeine crammed together. So, yeah, the Powre works very well for me. I'm also an avid bicycle rider, and I like to go out and ride miles. So the Powre is a fantastic product.
What is it about Powre, Doug? Because the two things that I hear is increased libido. Maybe it's the dilation properties that come with Powre. But what is the key ingredient? Why does it do so much for men in particular?
Well, Powre stands for Proprietary Optimum Watermelon Rind Extract. It's spelled P-O-W-R-E. And we're the only company in the world. We developed it. We did all in-house clinical studies using 5 different doctors and their patients. And what it does is watermelon rind is simply the richest known source of an amino acid called citrulline. And citrulline is critical to the body. The body produces it, but typically it doesn't produce enough as we start maturing. The citrulline is critical because the body converts it to NO, nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a critical part of body functioning. Matter of fact, the people that developed its value won a Nobel Prize because that nitric oxide produced by the citrulline is a natural dilator, which means it relaxes blood vessel walls and all your capillaries and your arteries and your veins, so you get more blood flow. And so you're getting more oxygen, more food, and blood to all the cells in the body. So anybody with cardiovascular challenges, if they got high blood pressure, of course, that's brought down, right away. It decreases the chances of any cardiovascular challenges. It will just assists in that whole realm. The other thing that we have is it has the capacity to eliminate lactic acid, ammonia, carbon dioxide, which are all poisons, by the way, out of the system. So by doing that, it shortens recovery time for athletes. So we have now professional boxers, soccer players, hockey players starting to use it because it doesn't go against any of the rules of that. Because it's just food. But because it's food, it's 100% bioavailable. Matter of fact, citrulline in a food-based source converts to NO about 2.7 times faster than anything else.
Folks, don't be fooled by any replicants out there in the marketplace. This guy was the first one behind citrulline. If you go look in most nutritional journals online and whatnot, citrulline and watermelon rind is one of those fashionable things that's be popping up now in 2017, but you are way ahead of the curve on this. Don't forget to give Zenus Global Health a call at 702-540-5668. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, more with Bruce Maier. We'll be taking your calls as well on the Host Resistance Hotline, 702-733-5968. The consultation's always free. We're backed by Nature's Pharmacy. Come right back.
Optimum D-Tox is simply nature's answer to a toxic world. It actively helps the body by eliminating toxins and accumulated waste while at the same time providing all the essential nutrients to maintain optimum wellness. Optimum D-Tox is one of only 2 Western-based whole food supplements that have ever been clinically tested and approved by the Federal Ministry of Health in China for degenerative and chronic conditions.
Call now, 702-540-5668. Eliminate deadly toxins today.
Alan Stock.
Conservative with a purpose. Afternoons from 3 to 6 on News Talk 840 AM KXNT.
Hey, folks, welcome back. You're listening to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk Radio 840 AM KXNT Las Vegas. My name is Anthony, joined here once again with Doug Whitfield, CEO and President of Zenus Global Health, and on the line, the Host Resistance Hotline, which you can join as well. 702-733-5968 is a gentleman by the name of Mr. Bruce Maier. He is a independent film producer as well as a musician and a longtime associate here with Zenus Global Health. It's always great to have him to ring in the new year as well. Bruce, before we move on here, we were talking about Powre during the break, and for men, you know, and Doug, you can weigh in certainly as well, it has some ED ramifications as well, which is why I was saying if you're a man over the age of 40, you may want to consider this product more so now than ever.
Not just men, but women as well, because, again, what's happening is by increasing blood flow to the genitalia, you automatically will enhance the libido. We've got medical doctors, both in Canada and the United States, that are actually giving it to patients that have ED, a very common challenge for men once they get, over 50, 60 years old.
Just to recite again here, Bruce, the issue with Powre, and, you said you're a gentleman of the age of 65, and you go to the gym every day, and you are doing things in the gym that, quite frankly, most guys at 65 years old aren't doing. That obviously speaks to your dedication, but it also speaks to the products as well.
Yeah, I want to clarify. I'm not a power lifter. I have not been a free weight lifter. I work with other machines, and I do a lot of cardio exercises. I walk long distances. I do a lot on the stationary bicycle when I'm not riding my actual bicycle. Living in the Northwest, you're challenged a lot with the rain and the cold, so I choose to be indoors and stay on the stationary. But, yeah, it has given me an edge that's helped me to develop. I mean, I'm seeing things happen now with definition of muscle that wasn't there when I was in my 40s. I was involved in martial arts for over 20 years, so I was pretty good shape back in those days and going to tournaments and all that stuff. I just don't have the desire to have somebody hit me anymore, so I look for low impact fun in my exercise. But yeah, it does definitely give me an edge, and I just love the product. It's amazing.
Something that's emerging for us here at Zenus, and I think in the next year you'll see more and more in this vein. It's the ability of these products, specifically Optimum D-Tox and Asceniac, and their efficacy with pets. You've got a fabulous story to share about one of your pets. These are testimonials that just come out of the woodwork with Zenus products. Would you share your story with us?
I would love to. I get a little emotional when I think about it because, we have great love for our pets. My wife and I have a couple of wonderful little dogs, and they're senior citizens now. They're over 11 years old. And in the early part of 2017, my boy dog, Teddy, he had just quickly developed a tumor back in his hind end area, and he's a long-haired dog, and he kind of hid it for a while. And this suddenly, it was larger than a golf ball, and it was very hard. And so, we took him to the vet. We had a biopsy drawn, and, they come back and say, well, it's inconclusive. We want to send him to a special lab, and it's going to be another $1,500. And here's what we're up against. If it is a malignancy or whatever, or if it's benign, we won't know until we do this. So in order to remove this thing off of him, it's going to be somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000, And he said, but that's not the biggest issue. It's the dog has a slight heart murmur, and he says when we put the doggy to sleep so that he can go through the operation, he says he might not wake up. His heart might not be strong enough. So that was not an option for us. We figured at his age, we're just going to love him and do whatever we can. However, this problem got worse. It literally festered. It broke open, and when I came into his little doggy room and I saw what had happened, I literally thought he was going to bleed to death. So I got into a quick little panic mode, and I started cleaning him up and everything. But here's what I decided to do. I had nothing to lose but to try to see if I could save the dog's life. So I took the Optimum D-Tox and the Asceniac herbal tea, I started making up the Asceniac tea every day, and I was putting it onto like a cotton compress, and I would put it right directly onto the wound, and I would give him eyedroppers full of the Asceniac tea. And, he wasn't too keen on it at first. I had to hold him in place, and then it just went down his tongue, and he swallowed it. And the dogs have always had Optimum D-Tox in their water a little bit, so I stepped up that dosage and really started giving both of the products. And, that was about 8 months ago, and little Teddy, I can tell you, he completely healed. I had actually told my wife, I said, I think we're going to have to take him in and have him put down. And it was heartbreaking. But I will tell you that the steady, keeping the area clean and giving the compress of the Asceniac tea onto the cotton. In fact, no trouble holding it there because he would sit right down. He was annoyed by that, and he would sit right down into my hand where I had the compress. And he'd sit there for half an hour soaking up that Asceniac. And he and I just sat there and just looked at each other. And but he is completely healed of that affliction. And not only that, but he seems to be a little bit stronger. His eyes are a little bit brighter. The regimen that lasted about, I think it was a total of about 3 weeks. It just kind of infused him with a little bit more energy or something. He would never know he had a problem at the earlier part of the year. He's just doing great.
This is something we hear over and over, Doug, with pets. And the most important thing you take from the experience with pets, and you and I have talked about this before, is the lack of a placebo.
Oh, yeah, there is no placebo effects. Animals don't know what's supposed to happen. They don't read. They simply either respond or they react.
You've had your own pet.
We've had our own. Ed Bruce is familiar with that, too, with the female Papillon that we had. We got her back in 1998, and we found out after we got her from the breeder, she was a companion for our little male that we had, is that she had a degenerative liver condition, and within 3 weeks, her liver enzyme count jumped over to 3,300. I had her into a Dr. Sapp. Dr. Sapp was a vet here in Las Vegas at the time, and after keeping her at his clinic for several days, I went in. She looked like out of a horror movie. Her eyes were bright yellow with jaundice, but she was lifeless. And I said, this dog's not going to live. And he says, Mr. Whitfield, we've concluded we can't save this dog. And the chances are she's not going to make it through the weekend. And they'd called in what they told me was the #1 internal specialist veterinarian in the U.S. who concluded. And we were in tears. Took her home, and then we felt a little foolish, like hypocrites, because here we were helping people, and we had worked with livestock in the past. So we started her on a regimen, and literally overnight she responded. And we lost her about 2.5 years ago. She was 18 years old. She was supposed to die back in 1998.
We hear these stories over and over again. Bruce, I know you've heard them. This company's about people, pets, and planet. Again, you've been involved with this company for a very long time. What makes it so different than all the other companies that seem to be in the supplement space, and maybe things that you've learned over the years?
Well, in the beginning, when I first found out about the company, keep in mind, Doug and I had become friends. We were friends for 6 months or so, writing buddies and getting together, jamming on guitars and all that, before I actually actively got involved. And there was a reason for that. The model at that time was set up almost strictly as network marketing, and I had been involved in network marketing before. It's something that I do believe in. I think that if a person applies themselves, it could be a fun and lucrative business to run directly from your home and that type of thing. So I came into it with a little experience in the background of networking, and I loved that, because during the daytime on my day job, I was involved in traditional person-to-person retail sales, and a little bit in finance. So a very different type of a business structure. I stayed involved with the company because of the people. Not just the products. If you're going to get involved in something, you've got to have good leadership. You've got to have leaders that will teach you and give you the tools that you need to succeed. Not just to build a team, and then many times these systems fail because there's a breakdown in communication in the networking itself. The people that have been involved in it longer, maybe they stop making their phone calls to the new people that are getting involved. But there was always a great infrastructure based on trust and respect.
The interesting thing you just said there, too, is I've noticed in this company that there are no false claims here, right? No one's out there talking about cures. What we're talking about is support. We're talking about tools that help your body improve itself. right?
Right.
Which makes it very different than other supplement companies, because you go out there across the landscape, and there are great products out there, but I've yet to find a series of products that support other products quite like Zenus products do.
And I agree with that, and I'll say wholeheartedly. I mean, I have, since 2008, as soon as the company was reorganized, Doug went on a big road trip, and he came up to the Pacific Northwest, and we put groups of people together, and he did his lectures and seminars. And my closest friend since junior high school, I'll just say his name is Jimmy. Jimmy came to the first meeting, and, he just probably did it as a compliment to me because we're friends. Well, Jimmy had very high blood pressure. Anyway, to make a long story short, Jimmy eventually became a consumer and a customer of mine, even though we had been friends for so long. And he has the absolute proof, because he can see his charts on his blood pressure medication requirements. Today, and I will say Jimmy had put on a lot of extra weight. He's taken off the weight. His triglycerides, his blood pressure, his heart rate is like that of a person that's 35 years old. And he takes his Optimum D-Tox every day. Now, he never got involved in becoming an independent distributor or anything like that, but he wanted to be a consumer. And he's been one of my greatest shining neon lights, because he carries it with him all the time and tells people, they say, well, what did you do different? What are you doing different now? And he just pulls his little bottle of Optimum D-Tox out. He says, well, I get this from my friend Bruce.
It's been a fabulous journey, and I think 2018 is going to be an even more special year, because there's some very, very interesting offers to come out. I know you know that. I know Doug, with 50 years of the business, is looking forward, not behind. And it's great to have that moment to speak with you on a Sunday as well. Bruce, I hope you come back on the show. It's always a pleasure to check back in with you. You have a wonderful new year.
Bruce, wishing you the very best. I know that you've had all kinds of trials and tribulations and challenges this past year, and
I certainly have.
2018 is going to be our year, my friend.
I believe so. Happy New Year to everybody out there, and thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for being on the show.
Folks, you're listening to the Zenus Health Show, brought to you by the fine people at Zenus Global Health. Don't forget, check with the website, zenusglobalhealth.com/information. Give them a call at 702-540-5668. We're entering a new year. We're entering a new phase for Zenus. The consultation, though, is still free, and we're backed by Nature's Pharmacy. More from you. More with your calls. Get on the line, 702-733-5968. Talk to us about resolutions. We'll be right back.
Toxins create disease. They are everywhere. In our food, in the air we breathe, in our homes, at our places of work.
Heavy metals accumulate in our systems every day, causing numerous health problems that can seriously impact every major organ in our bodies.
They are stored in our organs, tissues, and bones.
We also know that metal toxicity is often derived from all kinds of environmental threats. But no matter the origin, studies now show that heavy metals in the body may be implicated to Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, behavioral problems, kidney dysfunction, epilepsy, and even paralysis.
Are you toxic? The answer is yes. We are all toxic.
And that's precisely where chelate comes in.
Start detoxing today.
The strongest whole food detoxifying agent for heavy metals. Call Zenus at 702-540-5668 and strike back at toxic heavy metals today.
What is the Del Walmsley Radio Show?
Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. I'm your host, Del Walmsley, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on 840 KXNT.
Why should you pay attention to the news?
Staying informed.
Because it affects everything around me.
Staying connected.
Keep informed on what's going on.
Staying in touch with the world around you.
Staying informed gives me the power of knowledge.
Stay on News Talk 840 AM, KXNT.
Hey, folks, you're listening to the Zenus Health Show, the, New Year's Eve edition of the show, brought to you by the fine people at Zenus Global Health. Remember, check out the website, zenusglobalhealth.com/information, or give them a call, 702-540-5668. if you want to get in real quick and share something about your resolutions, what you're going to do in 2018 to achieve some new wellness objectives, by all means, give us a call and share them. And I'm here with Doug, of course. And Doug, I know you've got a special challenge among many that will appear in 2018 to help people support the resolutions that they carry in 2018.
Well, the best investment you can make is in your own health and wellness. And so in order to put more life in your years and more years in your life, you simply, if you go to the zenusstore.com, thezenusstore.com, there you can get a 5-month supply of the Optimum D-Tox, which will help restore balance in your system for $125. You know, that's like $25 a month. If you don't invest in your health now, you'll become an expense later, I can assure you.
Poisons and toxins in this modern life that we live, we have to deal with them, because if we don't, we're going to become either the next statistic or the next survivor of chronic disease. And by all means, you do not want to be one of those people. And I feel so much better over the last 5 years before I took your products. This is a direct testimonial, folks. I would get sick this time of the year. Okay, being around a lot of people, right? You go Christmas Eve, you're with friends, you're with family. Once again, New Year's Eve, with lots of people, lots of friends, lots of family. What ends up happening? You acquire disease from that, right? Just by the flu.
You may, or you may not. That's a choice.
Well, there's a reason for that. It's because we talk about health and wellness, and they're not the same thing, so to speak.
Right.
The thing about wellness is, if I do the right things, those direct health challenges don't tip me over the edge and flip me into disease. I've got a system that can fight these things off.
Correct.
And that's the power of your products.
Well, that's right. It's really becoming proactive and taking a proactive attitude.
Right.
Because all of these things, when you walk into a group of people and there's somebody sniffling or coughing or that, they're putting infectious microbes into the air.
Right.
Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to catch anything, but if you're inundated with accumulated waste, then the chances of you getting something are increased exponentially, simply because all of those living entities are out there searching for a host that will provide them with a food source, and they thrive on accumulated waste. So the best defense is by cleansing and eliminating this food source, this accumulated waste, out of your system. That way, you're not going to be inviting these pathogens, viruses, bacteria, germs, microbes, etc., into your system. So you'll be the one that didn't get anything.
And I know people who are diabetic even, whose health is already compromised, who are not getting sick while everyone else is, who have already issues health-wise that would lead them into a compromised state. So I guess that's where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And yet they're able to build up the kind of host resistance that enables them to not get crippled at the first sign of a flu or a sickness that may be out there. That's remarkable.
It's not just that. You can actually, again, depending whether it's type 2 or type 1 diabetes, if it's type 2, which is most predominant, we have over 1 in 10 people, over 30 million people, and that's totally manageable and controlled, the symptoms, by nutrition. You know, getting rid of the poisons and filling the body with the things that it really does need.
Like for 5 years straight, I would get sick at every time of this time of year. And this year, I feel like I've never felt. And I attribute that to your products. There are people that I know who have gotten to know your products over the last year through us, who have gotten to know it. So we know there's something that's changed, and it's been that product.
Oh, yeah.
Optimum D-Tox.
Well, that's our flagship product. But understand, we've got products like chelate that take out heavy metals out of your system, mercury, lead, cadmium, aluminum, arsenic out of your system. And these are insidious toxins that cause all types of neurological challenges. Then we also have the Asceniac that works on purifying the blood and the entire lymphatic system. It's really about restoring balance by eliminating the cause of the imbalance, which is accumulated waste and toxins in the system, and instead replacing those poisons with nutrition that the cells can use to effectively produce the enzymes necessary to do the healing.
Folks, if you get other questions about Optimum D-Tox, and maybe you're just a little too busy running around preparing for the party that may be happening at the house later tonight, maybe you're getting ready to go out and be with your friends at a local place or whatever that may be, and maybe you're just too busy to to pick up the phone and call now, make sure you make a visit over to DougWooderfield.com. This is Doug's personal website where he talks about plan, he talks about commitment, and he talks about sharing your success with others. You can also go to that site and hear all the past episodes of the Zenus Global Health Show. If you'd like to get more information from Doug, you can also send him a direct request for a consultation. He'll be certain to get back with you. What are your goals for 2018, my friend? I mean, regarding your own personal health and wellness, give people an idea how this is a constantly evolving process.
Well, again, I have a long-term goal, and it's just resetting my gyroscope, because sometimes we get off track a little. So I've just reset my gyroscope, but it's to educate people, because I believe people can only make logical and intelligent choices predicated on having good information. So my function is to disseminate information that's accurate, that's true, that's valuable, so people can make better choices when it comes to their wellness. It's all about educating, not medicating.
That, again, is one of the factors when you deal with Zenus, I think, that's really unique. We're actually asked to not only talk about these products, but actually share the successes with others, meaning give our story, let people know what worked and what didn't work. It's an honest and open exchange of information. That's the one thing that is very, very interesting, is there's a moral obligation to share here.
Right. At the best, the defense is a good offense. So what we want to do is superpower your body in a way so that you've got a real strong, healthy, robust immune system that's impervious to allowing pathogens or viruses into it. And it all starts with getting rid of the poisons that feed these microbes.
If you get involved with Zenus, you're going to hear that phrase over and over. Get rid of the poisons and toxins, and that is the secret to your success. This, again, has been Doug Wooderfield, and this has been also the Zenus Global Health Show, brought to you by the fine people of Zenus Global Health, where, again, that consultation is always free, and we're backed by Nature's Pharmacy. Make sure you follow us on Facebook at Zenus HQ for some very important updates in the next few days. Check us out on Twitter at Zenus Global for all the updates and more there as well. Remember, the greatest gift you can give to your friends and loved one of the new year is the gift of wellness. Happy New Year, people.
Happy New Year. We're constantly under siege by poisons and toxins in our food, in the water we drink, and even in the air that we breathe. Our liver, kidney, skin, and lungs were just not designed to handle this level of contamination. Hi, my name is Doug Wooderfield, President and CEO of Zenus Global Health. When I wrote my last book, Life or Grave Danger, I could never have imagined the impact that it would have, not just in people seeking advice on wellness, but how it was received by health professionals all across the spectrum. The cause of all chronic disease and premature aging is directly linked to poisons and toxins. Stress, nutrition, lifestyle choices, and our mindsets are key factors, but we cannot achieve the quality of life we deserve without first having the right information at our fingertips. And this is why I wrote Life or Grave Danger, to shine a light on the biggest questions of our time.
Get the book that is destined to be a classic. Order Life or Grave Danger directly from Zenus, 702-540-5668. Stop chronic disease before it starts. Call now. Please be advised that statements made during this show have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The information provided herein is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose nor treat any illness, nor does it suggest or imply a cure for any disease or chronic condition. In fact, you should always consult a physician and or healthcare professional before starting this or any nutritional program to determine if it is right for your needs.